My name is Auntie. I am 39-year-old. He stood in front of me like someone I used to know. Not close. Not far. Just there. His voice was quiet when he spoke, careful, like he was afraid that one wrong word would break something again. I just want your forgiveness, he said. I looked at him, and for the first time, I felt nothing rush inside me. No anger, no tears, no hope, just a strange calm, like the air after a storm has already passed. Inside my heart, a soft but clear voice answered not to him, but to myself. I don't want answers anymore. I don't want explanations. I just want peace. I didn't say it out loud, but I knew it was true. And standing there, in that quiet moment, my mind traveled back to the time when love felt safe. In the beginning, love was simple. There was no drama, no fear, no questions. Love lived in quiet mornings, when the world was still half asleep. It lived in shared routines, coffee cups on the table, shoes by the door, soft laughter at the end of long days. It wasn't loud or exciting. It was warm. He made me feel chosen, not because he said it every day, but because of the way he looked at me like I mattered, like I belonged, like I was protected. With him, I felt calm. With him, I felt seen. I trusted him the way you trust a home. The kind of trust that doesn't ask for proof. The kind that feels natural, almost invisible. I believed love was not about big promises, but about showing up again and again. And he did, at least, at first. Trust became our foundation. Or so I thought. As time passed, I gave more of myself than I realized. Not because he asked me to, but because I wanted to. I listened when he was tired. I stayed strong when he felt weak. I adjusted my plans, my dreams, my needs, telling myself that this was what love looked like. I became patient, then quieter, then smaller. I told myself it was normal. That relationships need sacrifice. That love means giving without counting. Slowly, I stopped asking for things. I stopped saying when something hurt. I stopped noticing how often I was the one holding everything together. There were moments, small, quiet moments, when I felt tired in my soul, but I ignored them. I called that tiredness commitment. I called that silence understanding. I believed loyalty would protect me. I believed that if I loved deeply enough, nothing bad could reach us. I didn't know that love without balance doesn't protect you. It drains you. The first cracks did not come with shouting or tears. They came with silence. He started to feel far away, still there, but not present. Conversations became shorter. His eyes stopped resting on mine. When I asked simple questions, his answers felt practiced, like lines he had already prepared. Something felt wrong, but I couldn't explain it. So I blamed myself. Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I was asking for too much. Maybe I needed to be more patient. I searched for the problem inside me, not between us. At night, I lay awake next to him, listening to his breathing, wondering how someone could be so close and so distant at the same time. The silence between us grew heavy, but I kept carrying it alone. I didn't want to disturb the peace. I didn't realize the peace was already gone. The truth didn't arrive like an explosion. It arrived quietly, almost gently. A sentence, a detail that didn't fit, a feeling I could no longer ignore. The betrayal wasn't loud. There were no screaming fights or dramatic scenes, but it was deep, deep enough to reach places inside me that had always felt safe. When I understood what had happened, my body reacted before my mind did. My chest tightened like it couldn't breathe. My hands felt cold. My legs felt weak, like they didn't belong to me anymore. I remember feeling small, smaller than I had ever felt in my life. The person who promised to protect my heart had become the reason it was breaking. And the worst part wasn't just what he did. It was the way it changed how I saw myself. He explained. He apologized. He said it didn't mean anything. He said he was confused. He said he was sorry. And I listened. I wanted to believe him. I wanted love to be stronger than pain. I wanted our history to mean something more than one moment of betrayal. So I stayed, even though trust was cracked, even though my heart was tired, even though something inside me was already pulling away. I told myself healing takes time. I told myself forgiveness is love. I told myself we could fix this. But love started to feel heavy. Every smile felt forced. Every quiet moment felt dangerous. I watched his words more than his actions. I doubted my instincts. I doubted my worth. I was loving him, but losing myself. One night, I sat alone in the dark. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I looked at my reflection in the window and didn't recognize the woman staring back at me. Her eyes looked older, sadder, tired in a way sleep could not fix. I realized something that scared me more than the betrayal itself. I was disappearing. Not all at once, but slowly. Silently. I stayed because I still loved him, but I didn't know I was slowly leaving myself. After the betrayal, nothing looked broken from the outside. We still ate dinner at the same table. We still lived under the same roof. We still said good morning and good night. But inside me, something had changed. Love didn't feel warm anymore. It felt heavy like a coat I couldn't take off, even when it started to suffocate me. We tried to move forward, but it wasn't really moving. It was pretending. He wanted life to go back to normal. He wanted smiles that didn't shake. He wanted peace without the hard work of rebuilding trust. And slowly, I understood something painful. Forgiveness was expected, not earned. At first, I was angry. I cried. I asked questions I didn't even want answers to. But after a while, the anger got tired. The tears dried up. The pain didn't disappear, just became quiet. Emotional numbness replaced emotional fire. I wasn't angry anymore. I was empty. People around me didn't understand the emptiness. They saw a relationship that still existed. They saw two adults still trying. And they said the same things, over and over, like they were reading from a book. Forgive him. It's better for your heart. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't throw everything away. Be strong. Move on. Society loves the word forgiveness. It sounds clean. It sounds mature. It sounds like the right thing. But no one talks enough about the other side. Sometimes forgiveness is not healing. Sometimes forgiveness is self-betrayal. Because when you forgive too early, you don't heal, you just learn to live with pain. You learn to swallow your feelings so others can feel comfortable. You learn to smile so no one asks questions. I began to notice that my forgiveness was becoming another sacrifice. Another way to stay silent. Another way to carry the weight alone while he walked freely beside me. And one day, I asked myself a question that I had avoided for too long. Am I forgiving him? Or am I abandoning myself? That question didn't come with tears. It came with clarity. The moment of clarity didn't happen during a fight. There was no shouting. No slammed doors. No dramatic goodbye scene. It happened on an ordinary day. I was alone at home. The light outside was soft, almost golden. I remember washing a cup in the sink and staring at my hands. They looked normal, but they felt far away, like they belonged to someone else. In that quiet moment, I noticed how tense my body always was. Even when nothing was happening, I noticed how I always listened for his mood before I spoke. How I measured my words, just to avoid another problem. How my happiness had become a small thing I hid because it felt unsafe to be too open. And suddenly, I understood. This wasn't love anymore. This was survival. I realized peace does not need his apology. Healing does not require reconciliation. And then another truth landed inside me, gentle, but firm. I didn't need him to understand. I needed myself to stop explaining. Stop explaining why I felt hurt. Stop explaining why trust matters. Stop explaining why I deserved more than a sorry that came after damage. I stood there, alone, and felt something I had not felt in a long time. Not happiness, not excitement, just freedom beginning to breathe. And then we returned to the present. He stood in front of me again. His face looked softer than before, like regret had finally reached him. His eyes were heavy. His voice shook a little when he spoke. "I know I hurt you," he said. "I've been thinking about it. I just want your forgiveness." For a second, I saw the past version of myself, the woman who would have taken those words like a gift, the woman who would have tried again, even if she had nothing left. But I wasn't her anymore. I listened calmly. I didn't interrupt him. I didn't argue. I didn't attack, and I noticed something surprising. He was asking for forgiveness like it was a key to open the door again, a key to wash away guilt, a key to make everything easier for him. But forgiveness is not a prize you give someone because they finally look sorry. Forgiveness is personal. It is quiet. It is not a performance. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't standing there to judge him. I was standing there to choose myself. The power had shifted. I was no longer waiting for him to become safe. I was becoming safe for myself. I wanted to say 1,000 things. I wanted to tell him how lonely it felt to love someone and still feel alone. I wanted to tell him how the betrayal didn't just break trust, it broke my confidence. I wanted to tell him how long I carried the pain while he carried excuses, but I didn't, because I wasn't there for closure. I was there for peace. Peace doesn't always come with a perfect ending. Sometimes peace comes with a simple decision, a boundary, a quiet line you draw, not to punish someone, but to protect what is left of you. So I didn't argue. I didn't punish. I didn't try to make him feel the pain I felt. I simply let go. And letting go didn't feel like winning. It felt like breathing after holding my breath for too long. Quiet strength is not loud. Quiet strength does not scream. Quiet strength walks away without needing applause. Life after leaving was not perfect. Some mornings, I still woke up with a heavy feeling in my chest. Some nights, I still remembered the good parts and wondered if I was being too harsh. Healing is not a straight line. But my life became honest. I stopped pretending. I stopped performing being okay. I stopped shrinking. Slowly, I returned to myself. I listened to my own needs again. I made simple choices without fear. I laughed without checking the room first. I began to trust my instincts again, even when they trembled. And I learned something that I wish I had learned earlier. Self-worth does not beg. Self-worth does not stay where it is repeatedly hurt. Love should not feel like walking on glass every day. Love should not require you to disappear. Maybe forgiveness will come someday. Real forgiveness. The kind that happens naturally after healing. But peace could not wait for that. Peace had to come first. And if you're listening to my story and you feel guilty, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not cruel for choosing peace. You are not weak for walking away. You are not too much for needing safety, honesty, and respect. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop fighting for someone who keeps breaking you. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is finally choose yourself. Because love without self-worth becomes a cage. But love with self-respect becomes freedom. He wanted my forgiveness, but I chose my peace. And that choice saved me.